Swagoo, you'll
I'm
be
going to
back.
sit here and watch CJ.
The full splash has not been in effect. Klay Thompson hasn't been himself so far in the finals. He's averaging 13 points in 2 games, shooting 10 of 33 from the field, 4 of 15 from deep, including an abysmal 1 of 8 behind the arc shooting. Here's Jeff Van Gundy on Klay.
I can't envision in my mind how they could win this series, let alone another game, if he can't find a level of, doesn't have to be great, but super impactful and good to really good. They got to get more from Thompson.
All right, here's the crew. How's everybody feeling this morning?
What's going on?
Great.
All right, I'm going to start with you, JJ.
Oh.
How concerning is Klay's play if they're trying to win the chip this year?
It's concerning in the sense that they need Klay Thompson to have a couple big games for them to win this series. However, I'm not particularly concerned. We just saw him in a closeout game against the Mavs go for 32 with 8 threes. I think it's important to note that this early struggle that he's had against the Boston Celtics has been a trend throughout the playoffs. In games 1 and 2 of every series throughout the playoffs, he's averaging 15 a game on 39 and 30 shooting splits. After that, he's up to 22 a game on 48 and 44 shooting splits. So his game gets better as the series progresses. Now, in relation to the Boston Celtics.
Wait, 1 second. Are you talking about just this year or you're talking about always?
I'm talking about this year.
Okay.
This postseason.
Okay.
Yeah, this postseason.
Okay.
Post 2 lower body leg injuries. So I think when we talk about this specifically with the Boston Celtics, what they have done a great job of, they have contested his shots really well. They've made it tough on him. They've been in his airspace. I think he was 1 for 13 in game 2 on contested shots. He's got to find a way, CJ, to get more uncontested shots. And we talked about this earlier today on Get Up. I think the way to do that is you got to find him in transition. You got to push the pace. The Warriors are so good at finding Klay Thompson and Steph Curry in transition for those transition threes. And in game 2, he missed a couple bunnies at the rim. As a shooter, you want to see those shots go in. Any little thing, free throws, layups, an uncontested 3 in transition, that's ultimately what's going to get you going so then that you can make the contested shots. But overall, I mean, I'm not concerned about Klay. I do expect him to have a couple big games, and they need him to have a couple big games if they're going to win the series.
Well, I'm concerned about him. I'm concerned about him a lot because this is one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen in the history of the game. And over the first 2 games of this series, he's averaging 13 points on 30% shooting from the field and 26% from three-point range. That's not Klay Thompson. That's just not Klay Thompson. That's not the Klay Thompson we know. Now, you're absolutely right. As a series wanes, he's shown that he can get it on and he'll explode into game 5 or game 6. His record speaks for itself. And I believe he's one of the top 5 shooters in the history of basketball. When you look at his numbers and when you look at what he brings to the table, he's a marksman. There's no question about it. But we know that he's not 100%. We know that he's not fully back yet after those 2 nasty leg injuries that he suffered that kept him out over the last 2 years. And so when you take that into account and you think about how Boston is strategizing against him, they're up in his face. They're contesting everything. They're relatively bigger dudes. Not Marcus Smart, but a Derek White has good size in them. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown obviously have good size in them or what have you. It's not as easy for Klay Thompson to get open shots. And if you're making him work for everything that he gets, okay, you guys know this better than me. Legs play an important role in your ability to shoot the basketball. The fresher your legs are, that definitely helps, okay? It's not just about you and your wrists. It's not just about you and your stroke. It's also about the legs that you've got under you as well. And if you're making a guy work overtime to get anything, that's taken away some of that from Klay Thompson. And I think as a result, we're seeing what we're seeing. Now, do I believe this will continue? No. But I will say I concur with Jeff Van Gundy when he says Klay Thompson has to play better in order for them to win this series because I don't believe that you beat this Boston Celtics team and Klay Thompson doesn't show up at all. I don't believe that.
Not concerned at all. The series is still 1-1. We talked about this. Outside of how they performed in the fourth quarter of game 1, the series should be 2-0, to be honest with you. And looking at what you said previously, because I love to bring up old things.
Sure.
You said that the Warriors only needed 2 out of the 3 to play well in order to win. So the fact that Klay Thompson hasn't shot well 30%, I'm willing to bet it's not going to happen again. He's not going to go 4 for 19 tomorrow in Boston. It's only a matter of time before he plays well and shoots well. They just need Jordan Poole to play better, to be more aggressive, more assertive, similar to how he was in the third quarter. And they can still win this series with 2 of the 3 playing well. Obviously, assuming Steph scores 25 to 30, they can still win. But the concern here is more so about, like you talked about, the legs, the foundation, the dips. He's missing open shots, not just contested. Credit Jaylen Brown for defending well, running him off the line. Marcus Smart's a great defender. They're pressuring him. They're switching a lot. But how often have we seen the Warriors set a screen and slip and get a dunk? Historically, that's their offense. They play at a split post. They play through Draymond Green. I think they should get back to that more often. Obviously, in the third quarter, they'll go high pick and rolls with Steph, clear things out, allow for him to space, and that will also affect Klay's touches. But if they run more of their continuity offense, more of their split movement, that's what's going to give Boston more trouble. So I expect Klay to play well in a hurry.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you holding that against me because you're absolutely right. That is what I said. You need 2 of the 3 guys. Don't have as much faith in Jordan Poole as if he has. Not to say that he's not going to do some good things because I expect him to, but I think he likes to dribble a little bit too much. I think against Boston, that's an impediment to his success. Even though he's shown that he can get off a little bit, I think there's times that he could potentially cost them. When we talk about reliability, we're talking about guys that are tried and proven in Steph and Klay, right? So let's get back to Klay here because, see, here's the thing that really it throws me off about you guys when you talk about not being concerned. If this is the regular season, no. Klay, get it. We got time. This is the finals. You ain't got so much time. You got 5 games left. It's the best 3 or 5 from this point forward. You got 1-1. It's the first team that gets the next 3 wins the championship. You don't have all day. You don't have all year. And so when I see what Boston is doing to him now, the question is, do you think they can continue to do it? I would remind you, JJ, you did pick the Boston Celtics to win this series. Okay. There is a reason for that. And so when I'm looking at Klay, I'm thinking about, all right, I got Golden State winning this game. This series is 7 games. I'm believing, he might need to step up and be better than what he is, like Jeff Van Gundy said, in order for them to make you wrong and make your prediction of the Celtics winning this series wrong. Why is that beyond the realm of comprehension? That we're looking at an NBA Finals. We're looking at a guy that's been gone for 2 years. He's been working his way back. We all know he's not fully back yet, meaning 100% healthy, okay? He's still working his way through. And you're going up against the elite defense in basketball right now in the Boston Celtics. Why is that beyond the realm of comprehension? That Klay Thompson can continue to struggle as this series wanes. It is possible. I don't think it'll happen, but it is possible.
Very few things are beyond the realm of comprehension, Stephen A. I mean, we live in 2022. Okay. Like, very few things. I can understand your argument. On the timing issue, though, you do realize every series prior to this has also been 7 games. Yes, he's also had to have a sense of urgency. So I'm asking you, though, like, would you take 22 on 48, 44 shooting splits the rest of the series? Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty much Klay Thompson pre-leg injury, right? Okay. And the idea that he's not 100%, yeah, he's not a version of himself, but he's 100% in who he is right now. And that 100% was pretty darn good in Game 5 against the Mavs. It was pretty darn good in prior series.
You know that.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Ain't
the misconception. I want to bring something. Okay. The misconception on this idea of legs and making people work. Like, I had to deal with this, and CJ knows, from me guarding him and from him guarding me. When you are a shooter, when you are a scorer like Klay Thompson, you're always on the move. You're always using your legs. You're always conditioning. I did a detail episode of Game 5 in that Mavs series. It wasn't like Klay Thompson was standing in one place shooting threes. He's always moving to spots. He's always coming off
I'm just talking about
picks.
Fatigue. I'm using that. I'm saying fatigue. I know he's moving.
He just had a week off. I'm not buying the fatigue factor. Okay. I think I buy more into the Boston Celtics doing a good job of being physical. And again, going back to that detail episode, what I saw over and over again, starting off the ball, the Mavs defenders, they're 5 feet off and then chasing through screens. What are the Celtics doing? They're up to touch every single time with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They're being physical before the screen ever comes. That's taking away a lot of that momentum to get that little bit of separation. CJ, am I right? You just need a little bit of separation coming off those picks. And if the defender's already into you, it's harder to get that separation. To CJ's point, I completely agree with this. But on your point about the post splits, the Celtics cannot guard Steph Curry in pick and rolls. So if you're the Warriors and you're scoring 1.7 points per possession on Steph Curry pick and rolls against drop coverage, why would you go to your post splits in the half court when you could have the greatest offense of all time by just running those high pick and rolls? So I do think, yeah, we're going to need Klay. We're going to need Jordan Poole. Steph has been so good in this series. That's the concern. And at some point, they're probably going to have to double him. At some point, it's going to be 4-on-3 action on that backside.
And you're saying that once they double him, that's going to free up Klay more.
Klay's going to be wide. Yeah, he's going to be wide open. He won't have to work as hard. He won't have to fight through screens and do all that stuff. And the last point
But you did point out that he missed open shots, too. So if
he
he's
missed some
missing
shots. Hold on, coming off picks.
I understand that.
On fades.
I understand that.
Those are tough shots,
I understand there's tough shots, but we're talking about Klay Thompson. We're not talking about somebody that's foreign to these situations. And so the point is that when we see him missing more than we're accustomed to seeing him miss, that is a cause for alarm. You don't have Jeff Van Gundy saying that. You don't have Magic Johnson pointing out how guys got their hands on their hips and they look absolutely exhausted. It's not an accident that people are picking up on this stuff. And if you're Boston, that's your intent because you know that's going to elevate your chances of ultimately pulling out this series. To be physical, to get up in their face, to contest. It's what they do. It's why they're here.
I watched the halftime show of Game 1, and I just want to make a point here. How many times in a game on a dead ball you do grab your shorts, CJ?
You just
25. It doesn't mean you're tired.
God.
And by the way,
shout out to
thing that the old heads say this all the time, like my AU coach growing up. Don't put your hands on your shorts and lean over. You can't breathe as well.
We know better. We know better than that. We know better than that.
You can breathe fine.
But that doesn't mean that in that particular instance they were incorrect. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean that.
I'm not saying they are incorrect or correct. I'm saying I'm not buying any of that.
Cool.
I'm not buying any of that.
I think we're just used to Klay making shots, so we're trying to find an excuse for him. Sometimes you just miss. JJ talked about this being a trend. He has struggled to start series in games 1 and games 2. The switch comes on in game 3. He puts more of a sense of urgency on the performance down the stretch in big games when they need it. This is a big game that they need, so I would expect him to play well. And I would really expect him to play well in Game 6 because I think it's going to be 2-2 going into Game 5, and then it's going to be 3-2, and I think this goes 7. But ultimately, we talked about it. You don't really believe in Jordan Poole yet, right? You think he needs more time.
I wouldn't say I don't believe
You
in
said
him.
you don't believe in him consistently performing well enough for them to win.
I've got receipts on Stephen A. for the last 3 months hyping up Jordan Poole.
I said Lethal Weapon 3.
Yes,
Lethal Weapon 3.
Talking about how
said it
great
was
he
a
is.
pool party.
So now all of a sudden,
that
2
was
now-
games into a series,
now you're saying
somebody else.
all of a sudden you don't believe in him.
Now you don't believe in him.
Matter of fact, I said I wouldn't go to the pool party. That's what I said.
CJ.
But you're all right. I said
Prisoner of the
Lethal
moment.
Weapon.
You're talking about
I just say Lethal
every
Weapon.
time.
I'm not running
Prisoner
away
of the
from it.
moment.
I'm not running away from it. I said Lethal Weapon 3.
You called the Warriors in 7. And now, because Klay Thompson is struggling a little bit, you're backpedaling.
How am I backpedaling? Did I say Boston's not winning, that the Warriors are not winning this series? Did you hear those words come out of my mouth?
You said
Did you hear those words come out of my mouth?
You said I'm concerned because
I'll admit, I said I was concerned coming into the series, but I still picked the Warriors in 7.
But if you think that Klay's going to continue to struggle and you're not all the way invested into this pool party, how are they going to win?
I am not.
How do they win?
Because I said that I believe, even though I'm concerned, I'm still going to keep my faith in Klay Thompson.
KD's not walking through that door.
Oh, I know that.
He ain't walking
I
through
know
that door.
that. I
He's
bet you
not.
he probably wish he was. You know what I'm saying? He'd be in the finals. Well, you say that. You say that. I know. Hey, listen, they got swept. That's not the people to bring up right now. They got swept. Okay? But the point that I am making is I'm not jumping off the Warriors bandwagon. I'm just saying I am concerned. I respect the hell out of the Boston Celtics. And to me, you got to bring your A game to beat them. That's how I feel.
You do. No, I concur. I think that was a respectable debate in which I still say the Boston Celtics are going to win this series.
Well, you go ahead and say that, and you go ahead and say that too. Y'all go ahead and say it, but don't accuse me of backpedaling. I did say the Warriors are winning the 7, and I have not jumped off that.
Well, you better hope Klay Thompson plays better because you said that you don't think Poole can carry the load.
I don't think
he just carried the load against the Denver Nuggets.
I don't think that's right. And then against Memphis, not so much. And then obviously in the Western Conference Finals, not so much. I'm just saying that he shows up, but consistently, I worry about that. But Poole has got a bright future. I like Poole.
He's got a rich future.
I just don't. Very rich future, and he deserves it. I'm just saying that Klay Thompson's a different animal. I expect more.
Okay. And I said pool party, and that's not corny. Lethal Weapon 3 was corny.
Lethal Weapon
That never stopped. No one ever liked that but you.
Lethal Weapon 3 is not